Hello, folks, and welcome to the Daily Minute. I hope you had a nice Labor Day weekend and starting the fall season, as it were. Usual Tuesday, doing some updates of what's going on around the globe. Today, I just wanted to really focus on China just because of some of the interesting ways of matching where they're at in their processes in this COVID transitional period, we'll call it. In comparison to other places. Obviously, they've got a 3-month head start on us, and so you can kind of watch and track some of the things that happen. I find it interesting or curious to kind of see where some opportunities are or where we might see some things kind of gliding through from a U.S. standpoint, watching some of the things that they've got going on. So anyway, when you ask the general folks in Shanghai, when you take a look at the government information relative to the COVID cases in their area, it's zero. Now, that's what they say. So zero. That's whether it's 1,000 or 2,000 or zero, that's still a pretty low number, zero. And in other major areas, they're also saying zero. So I guess at least by general terms, they're doing really well. That'll be an important point when I get to some of my kind of discussion points to go later on. So good for them, and I hope that's something that we've got coming our way as well, less than a few months away, if at all possible. Talking some economic numbers, some math information that would be useful. Manufacturing PMI, August was 51 for them. So the interesting about that, that's 5 straight months of being plus 50. Obviously, then a strong movement back from the standpoint of their PMI index. If you look at the January through July timeframe from an automotive standpoint, they produced 12 million units, 12 million vehicles that they pumped out just January through July. And the other thing that's interesting about that is 50% of those, 50% of those are Chinese-only brands. So not the Toyota, GM, VW joint ventures and mixes, straight up Chinese organizations, 50%, 6 million of those vehicles. Construction continues to be booming, a lot of that driven by the infrastructure programs that they have in place, a lot of that driven by high-speed rail and rail development to moving western areas, and also the development they're doing down in that greater Bay Area that we've been talking about from Hong Kong, Macau, that particular area, so Guangdong. So a lot of manufacturing dollars going in there, really opportunities for investment for our members in that industry area. Another thing that's interesting to watch, and we obviously try tracking it really closely, is seeing what's happening with mass gatherings or trade shows and large-scale events. And just in this past week, 2 big ones worth noting. So Beijing had their China 2020 event that was 18,000 exhibitors, not attendees, 18,000 exhibitors, 148 countries or regions that were represented, 2 million square feet. You're talking in the solid 6 figures for attendance at it. So a pretty big show in Beijing. That happened, just this past week and going on for the next couple days. In Shenzhen, big machine tool manufacturing show that they had the 1st through the 4th. And so that's 1.2 million square feet. And it's the biggest machine tool show in southern China. So obviously a big event. A lot of our international members actually participate in that one. And again, the interesting thing here, if you're not really having much of an issue with COVID, if people are enforcing and looking at their social distancing, apparently they're obviously much better at enforcing mask wearing at some of those events. But they've been able to execute some of these things, and actually you can see so far, and they've been having these now for a couple of months. This isn't new. These are just the 2 newest shows. It speaks to where I think we can start to evolve our own marketplace and what we see happening in our economy, whether it be trade shows, what happens with manufacturing numbers, scaling up production. So I think if we can be taking a little bit away from that, it's our opportunities are definitely coming. We're on a good track. We're starting to share our own good numbers, and we've got a lot of opportunities coming our way if we can start to model some of those pieces. So skip some of the geopolitical stuff, focus on kind of the manufacturing tech stuff that's happening in that space. Good news coming our way. So with that, I hope you have a great one. We'll catch up to you again on Thursday, and got my good friends sitting in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, kind of doing some fill-in, kind of so you don't get tired of this face and you can hear some of the other great folks at AMT. So we'll catch up to you again on Thursday. Have a great evening.